you, David. And before we start, I just want to say a special word for Ken and Judy. I so appreciate their transparency, their vulnerability, and what they shared with us. And I can just tell you that they are wonderful, wonderful people. And I don't know that I'd have had the courage to stand up here and do what they did today. So thank you, Ken and Judy. I know you're out here somewhere. Yeah. As David mentioned, we have some family business to address today. To that end, I officially convene our previously announced special congregational meeting. Its specific purpose is to vote on elder nominees. However, I just want to acknowledge to you that we know that there are other questions and issues which we need to discuss together as a congregation. We will be establishing forums to do this in the near future. So that's not the purpose of the meeting today, but we will give opportunity in the near future. I will also announce that a quorum is present, so we have a quorum. So for today, if you're an active member of MBC, you should have a ballot. You should have checked in and already have a ballot. And I would like to ask you to fill it out now if you haven't already. We are voting on whether or not these three men on the ballot are biblically qualified to serve as elders at McLean Bible Church in our church family. Chuck Hollingsworth, Ken Tucker, and Jim Burris. All three of these men have been nominated by church members, examined, and unanimously affirmed by a nominating committee made up of both elders and church members, and recommended unanimously by our current Board of Elders. If you believe they are biblically qualified to serve and shepherd our church, please mark your ballot yes. Or if you believe they are not biblically qualified to serve and shepherd our church, then mark your ballot no. For the purpose of voting, this congregational meeting will be open through the end of our 11 o'clock worship gathering, at which time it will be adjourned. So if you're an active member and you have not yet received your ballot, you can go to the lobby at your location and get a ballot and submit it there. But for those who have a ballot now, we ask you to mark it and pass it to the aisles where we will be collecting them. You may have seen in the e-news that describe the collection and counting process, but if not, it is this. Ballots from each location will be secured and handled the same way that we safeguard cash and checks, and will be transported to Tyson's from our remote locations in special lock containers, the bank lock bags that we use for cash and checks. Opening the containers and counting will take place here at Tyson's under the observation of a qualified neutral third party from the law firm of Holland and Knight. The results will be announced via e-news as soon as possible, possibly tomorrow afternoon. For the next few minutes though, while we collect these ballots, our musical worship teams at our different locations are going to lead us in song. We ask you to stay seated until the ballots in your area have been collected. Again, when they're complete, we'll ask you to pass them to the right.
Larry, point of order. This is a difficult thing for me to do, to stand up here. You're shifting from...
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute.
I have a point of order.
Well, I'm not accepting your point of order. We're conducting this meeting, sir.
Right. You have a choice.
We're conducting the meeting the way it's been orchestrated.
All right, here's the question. Hey, sir.
No.
Hold on. Hang on.
I'm gonna ask you to step out. Please don't do this. Don't make me do this. Please, sir,
This
please step out.
is a congregational meeting.
Everybody, we're just gonna hold off for a second, and then I'm gonna have you step out. We're not gonna proceed until you're done.
Thank you, Bill.
Let's come on.
How many of you know me? How many of you know who I am? This is a congregational meeting. We have shifted from praise and worship to a congregational meeting.
We're gonna escort you out, sir.
All right? So, the question I've got is, what is the purpose of today's meeting? It's a special meeting. And the voices
and Fairfax.
Will you please come on?
need to be heard.
Please come on in, sir. Please
My
stop.
point of order is
stop.
very simple.
Please
Can
stop,
we
sir.
start the meeting with a reading of
Please
the
stop,
minutes
sir.
of the prior meeting of
Okay.
June 30th?
Hey, everybody, I'm going to ask y'all to just take a step up for a second, and we're going to push you guys out this way. All right, I'm so
I want to
sorry.
talk about adultery.
If you can.
I want to talk about fornication.
We're just gonna ask
I want to
everybody
talk
to
about
push out just for a
financial
little bit,
chicanery
alright?
that's going on here at the
I'm
church.
gonna ask you guys on this side to push
This
out just for a second.
is a congregational meeting where the congregation gets together and has the opportunity to speak amongst ourselves.
Okay, we're just going to ask you to come out. We're going to have
No,
Mike come in here.
I think, honestly, I think things should not be reduced to this ridiculous level.
Hello?
Chairman, please, can you please, let's call this enough. For peace sake.
Okay, sir. I'm going to have you step out. I'm going to have you
Larry, you need 2/3 of the congregation to vote to move the meeting, to move it away from the request for it.
Fairfax in the lobby, have them come in here. What's going on?
People are leaving. They want to have a congregational meeting. That's why they came here today. You guys have piggybacked this to put it right after a praise and worship ceremony. I've done this before. It's unfair to the congregation. We should be doing this at a picnic. We should be doing this in the evening. But they chose to do it during the middle of a congregational service.
just somebody who's just standing up. They won't stop and let us continue our service.
No, I've made
I gotta give
a
some.
request.
You know, so that we
I do need a mic.
You need a mic.
I do need a mic.
got
We're being censored by the church.
Yes.
Lucius Thompson, the directors. Hey, sir. Please, I'm serious. Can we just talk outside? Can we just talk outside? We do want to hear what you have to say.
Then listen.
Okay, but can we do it in a
How many
place
people
that's
would like to
different?
hear what I've got to say?
Yes, yes,
Speak
yes,
up.
yes.
Folks, we anticipated this,
Give
we're
him the
following our
mic.
normal
Give him the mic.
protocols here. We will reconvene at the time this is resolved. We will reconvene at
I'm
the
so
time
sorry,
this is
ma'am.
resolved.
I'm gonna have to ask you if you guys can just clear this area out. Would you guys mind clearing out just a little bit?
This is a business meeting.
Give him the mic.
Why are people opposed? You think we're some sort of weirdos? I've been a teacher in this church for 15 years, teaching Christianity 101.
Yes. Where's the mic?
The elders of this church, and I asked them to respond on specific questions, and I got stonewalled. I got crickets. Nothing. Don't tell me that people have come to you and you have talked to them because you have not. So disappointed in the leadership of this church. So disappointed. I prayed this morning, Lord God, this is terrible. This is my church. I've been here for 20 years.
Our church for 40 years.
25
years.
Standing here. It's God's church, not my church. Excuse me.
All I want are the minutes from the last meeting. Tell us what happened on June 30th. You couldn't even get a quorum for the March meeting. What does that say about the elders in the church? So we've got to admit the December minutes into the June meeting. They should be read here now so we understand where we were and where we're going. So the church has decided that it wants to have an open ballot. Your rights to vote secretly after 60 years at McLean Bible Church are being taken away from you. Look at your ballot. It has your name on it. This is
Hey,
unfair.
everybody, I'm gonna ask you guys to take a step back.
You get out. You get out.
I'm gonna ask you guys to take a step out. Is that all right? Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. All right. I'm gonna ask you guys to clear out just for a second, and then we'll get back together. But just for a second, if you can.
You get out.
Jim, let us vote.
I've got a motion on the floor. Vote on it. I want, second is
I
there.
second.
2/3 vote to move it, to stop the discussion. This is our meeting.
Lucius, you get out.
You're trespassing. You gotta. That's lawful.
Jim, you are not being Christ-like.
All right, so let's step out. Trespass, you gotta.
Thank you, Jim.
Sorry.
No, the purpose of this meeting was to come and vote.
The purpose of this meeting is a congregational meeting. Keep in mind, St. Paul exercised his right
We've
as
asked
a
you.
Roman
We've lawfully
citizen.
requested. Please come on. We have lawfully
That's
requested.
all we are asking.
I got it.
Vote no or don't vote. But don't support this. Hit the pause button. Let's have a legitimate meeting. Do I stay or do I go?
I cannot hear you. So we're going to proceed. And if you've already cast your ballot, I know some of you passed it in already. Please continue to do that. Pass it into the right of your aisle, and we will do what we said we would do with the ballot counting. And folks, you know, this is just not the way we're supposed to do things in church. And you can.
We agree. We agree, Larry.
So,
We agree on something, Larry.
all right, as we wrap up our time together, I'm going to ask DJ to come out and just lead us in a song, and we'll conclude our time together.
Salah. Dananesh. Let's follow the program.